Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dungeon Dive. Daniel here. I hope you're doing well, and if you're not, I hope you are soon. Okay, today we are going to take a quick kind of preliminary look at the Lands of Galzyr. This is a game that was provided to the Dungeon Dive as a review copy, and I was really looking forward to receiving it. And I played it for a few minutes, a few turns, and I just kind of wanted to provide some preliminary thoughts about the game, the setup, and how the beginning of the game is going. And then I'm going to play the game for a few days, both in real time and in game time, which is something that is pretty interesting here. And then I'll come back and kind of expand upon this video with some more detailed thoughts. But the Lands of Galzyr, I believe it is now being shipped from a successful Kickstarter campaign. Again, I was not a backer, but I was supplied this as a review copy. It is a game book / board game hybrid. I would say it's more of a game book than something like Tales of the Arabian Nights is, which this is really serendipitous that this game arrived right after I revisited Tales of the Arabian Nights. Tales of the Arabian Nights has less reading. It's more kind of little snippets of fiction that you kind of assemble into a hodgepodge of a structured narrative. The Lands of Galzyr is it's a more robust narrative experience. You will be reading a lot more. So keep that in mind. If you don't like a lot of reading with your board games, you may not enjoy this. I sometimes don't like a lot of reading, especially in a more of a dungeon crawl adventure game, something like Madara, which I felt like the reading in Madara kind of got in the way of the gameplay because it didn't feel like a game book hybrid. This, so far, the reading has not gotten in the way of my enjoyment because I am approaching it more like a game book, and the narrative does feel more like a game book / board game hybrid. So what am I doing in this game? I am playing as this frilled lizard here, and here's my little meeple. The meeples are absolutely adorable. I love them. You have little meeples for each of the 4 main animal characters. And my character right now, I have 7 gold. I have some stats here. You keep track of your stats with these little plastic tokens here. And you can add tokens to different skills that you use, that you have. There are 5 different, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 6 different skills here. And those skills will correspond to different dice that you can use when you take skill checks. And I really like how this system works. It's pretty interesting because not only do you get bonuses for each skill that you have a skill marker in, but you also get to use the adjacent skills to help when you take a test. It's pretty interesting. I do like that skill system. Right now, I have my 3 items that I am equipped with. I have some hiking boots, I have a pocket compass, and a speaking trumpet. And those give me bonuses to doing certain skills on certain verbs that will be highlighted in the storybook. If I am exploring, then I'll get a certain bonus. If I'm climbing, I'll get a certain bonus, and so on. Right now, I am on a quest, one of my originating quests here. I'm I think the 2nd or 3rd part of this quest called Chasing Legends. It looks like part 3. And each of the characters starts with a quest. But this is only kind of a suggestion of what you might want to do in this game. This game truly is a open world adventure game. And the campaign system is really interesting. And it's something that I am looking forward to experiencing more. There isn't a main narrative drive. There isn't a main plot. You're not trying to prevent a big evil. You're not trying to do one major goal. This is a game all about just kind of roaming this beautiful land and going on little quests, picking up side quests. You will have a number of different side quests that you can pick up. and those will be at certain locations, and you will have to travel to those locations to pick up those quests. At the beginning of a game, you decide if you want to play in a co-op mode, a solo co-op mode, or a competitive mode. And depending on which version of the game you want to play, you will have a certain number of days in which you will play for that particular game. And once that time passes, that game ends. And whoever has the most prestige wins. You can mix and match co-op and competitive games back to back. You can play a few games co-op, then you can switch to competitive. You can go back. If you are playing solo, you can continue to play the same character for 3 or 4 games in a row, and then you can switch to another character. The game remembers your status, so you will be saving your character. The characters don't level up in very meaningful ways, but what changes is the world. The game remembers how the world has reacted to your decisions. And so you just kind of play the life of these characters, and you play until you kind of run out of quests or you have experienced everything. So far, there doesn't seem to be like an objective. You're not going, okay, you have to do this to win the game. It's not really a game you win. It's a game that you experience. So in some ways, it kind of takes that main problem with Tales of the Arabian Nights of it being a game, a competitive game that people are trying to win, and that can cause some problems because there's so much randomness in that game that it's hard to plan your turns. It's hard to focus the game to become the winner. Whereas in this game, you're just kind of living a life and having an open world adventure. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that unfolds. And so the game board is actually double-sided. I'll show the other side in the other video, but we have a summer side and a winter side. And when you originally start the game, you're going to pick a character. You will have a starting quest, and this just kind of gives you a little bit of direction that you want to go in on the map. And then you will roll a 12-sided die, and depending on what you roll, you will draw the corresponding month. So I rolled 5, so I drew May. So my game started in May. And then with the website is an app. It's not an app you download, but you just access the storybook, and the storybook is online. So it's kind of like it takes that whole Tales of the Arabian Nights storybook and puts it in a website. And then the website you will tell the website which month you are starting in, and that'll tell you which side of the board you're playing in, if you're playing in summer or winter. And then it will randomize what day of the week you are starting in. So I started on Friday in May. And since I'm playing the co-op and I'm playing solo, I have 8 days to complete whatever I need to complete in this game. And you put a little token there to remind you to check the calendar, because the calendar is going to have another corresponding token that you start 8 days away from your starting day. And so coming up on Saturday, I believe that this day is going to end, or this game is going to end. I'm not sure what happens when I reach that point. We'll have to see. I'm looking forward to discovering that. I also have a mount here. I just went to a market in the city of Sarwar, or Sariwar, maybe, Sarwar. And I rented this red deer for 1 gold. And this red deer is mine to use for 3 days. So I put that token there to remind me what happens when the day token reaches that spot on the map. I could also spend a couple dollars, a couple gold to delay that for a couple more days to keep the red deer employed for a couple more days if I want to. And so right now what I'm trying to do is the third part of my quest. I need to get 1 space east of Rheinstum. And Rheinstum is this city here. And this character that I am looking for is in the outskirts, is in the plains, the farm area. So I believe they're going to be located in this spot here. And so a game turn is really simple. You move and then you have an adventure. And when you have an adventure, a number of different things can happen depending on where you are. So if you are in any of these city locations. You can check the casino, you can go to the convention center. Maybe up here you can go to the market or the hot springs. Here I was at this market. You can go to the metal factory, the museum, or the city park. So there are all kinds of different passages that you will read depending on where you are on the map. If you are in one of these kind of generic spaces, then you will pick a card from the random event deck and you will pick the first one that happens. So is it Sunday? You know, if I was here, no, today it's Tuesday. So I would go down. Let's say I was right here in these mountains. Is it Sunday? No. Are you in a settlement? No. Are you in grasslands? No. Forest? No. Hill? No. Mountains? Yes. So then I would read passage number 214. So depending on what day of the week it is, certain events will trigger. Depending on what month it is, certain things will trigger. Depending on if it's summer or winter, certain things will trigger. There are also ways to interact with this huge library of cards over here. These cards have a bunch of different quests that are going to come out that you can go on. These are all items and just different companions, different NPCs that you can meet, different ways that those cards will come out and impact the board. Some will come out and you will assign those to different spots to where you will have to travel to those spots in order to have certain events. So there are a lot of different random things that can happen in this game. And that is one thing that I am just super excited about, to see how it unfolds, to see what happens when this game is done and how it progresses time. I'm curious about how I'm curious about how the world will change and how I can play different characters. What is going to unfold? I'm not sure what's going to unfold. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but let's play one sample turn real quick. And so I'm heading out. So it is Tuesday morning and I need to get here. I do have my mount, so I get a +1 to my movement. Normally you can move 2 spaces in a day. Right now I can move 3 because of my mount. So I'm going to move out and I'm going to head down here. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I couldn't quite reach here on Tuesday, but now I get to have an event. So I could check any of my cards in my tableau. If I had anything that would allow me to have a special event, I could trigger that now to have my scene. This is the scene part of the game. I don't have anything there, so I'm not in a special location that has anything marked. So I'm just going to draw a random event card here and I'm going to look. So is the adventurer shocked? No, I am not shocked. I do not have that status. Okay. So where am I? I think I'm in a grassland. I'm not in a settlement. I am in a grassland. So I need to read 0238. So I would go to the website here. I'm going to put in 0238. Okay, while traveling through the grassy plains, you come across a field occupied by a camp of nearly 100 folks. They are working together to set up a new village. On the edge of these busy efforts, you see a young serval sitting on the road crying. Nothing, he shouts before you ask him what is wrong. You stay and have a conversation with the lad, learning his name is Arno. All the other workers mock me and treat me like I'm a nuisance. Earlier today, I got a letter from my mother. I told everyone how excited I was to get it, but after I set it down to work, one of them took it and no one is fessing up to it. Around you nearby, camp workers cast cold, ugly looks at you and the serval. Do you have a heated tag? So am I like angry? No, my tags right now are footwear, navigation, loud, a boaster, and untold or unfold. I can't quite read. I think that's untold. No, I do not have the heated tag. Okay, so as you can see, there's a keyword system that will change how the world interacts with you. Okay, so here are my 2 options. I can intimidate or I can observe, or I could let Arno deal with his own problems. So I am good at intimidation. I have 2 check marks, 2 little tokens on that skill there. So I can do that. Let's go ahead and do that. So on a normal skill test, you're going to take your 5 basic dice here, and each one of those has a face that corresponds to a success using that skill. I'm looking for this little happy, this little social icon there. But because I have 2 blue marks in that particular skill, I can substitute 2 blue dice. I also have a check in the adjacent green skill, so I can substitute 1 more for green. So now I'm looking to get those happy face symbols here, and I am doing an intimidate check. And so if I had something that could allow me to re-roll any of my intimidation skills, I might be able to use an item, but I have nothing to help me do any kind of intimidation. So this is just based off of this roll. So let's see how many successes I get. I have 1, 2, 3 successes. Okay, so I'm going to click intimidate and then reveal the outcomes. I have 3 here. So here we go. The camp followers are easy to scare, but the first several batches honestly do not know where the letter is and refuse to help you find it. You corner one Cooper mouse and scare the wits out of her. I do not know you. What do you want? My letter, Arno shouts. The mouse fixes him with a sneer, but under your threatening shadow, her defiance does not last long. With a nod, she directs you to a polecat and mink who are washing soiled clothes. Tromping over to them, they shrivel up and hand the letter to Arno. As you leave the camp, a gibbon offers you a piece of paper telling you it's a job that can only be done by someone as scary as you are. While the job offer is nice, it bothers you how determined folks were to bully the young serval. You earn 1 prestige. Okay, so now I'm going up to 4 prestige. I'm not sure exactly what prestige does yet, but let's see. So I am the active player. So now it says give card 58 from the library to the active player. So let's find card 58 here from the library and see what that adds. Okay, so there's a bunch of card 58s. So if there's more than one, you just kind of like shuffle them up and draw one at random. Okay, so this is like a status. I've become disheartened. Now I am worried and weary. This says, what's this all for? With a heavy heart, your mind isn't as sharp as it should be. Your only glimmer of hope is that perhaps tomorrow will be brighter. So I am disheartened for 3 days. So I need to add a timer to the calendar to remember that. I love that calendar system. It's really helpful for remembering when things happen. So what we do is we find 2 corresponding tokens in here. This is kind of like a mix and match thing. Okay, so here's 2. So I'm going to put 1 of these on my disheartened card, and I'm going to put 1 of these 3 days later on the calendar. So 1, 2, 3. So I am disheartened until Friday, until Solo RPG Friday. Okay, so give a random card 99 from the library to the adventurer. If unavailable, first move all 99 from the vault to the library. The vault is a place where you keep cards that you kind of like remove from the game. So I'm looking for a random card 99. Let's see. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of card 99s. So let's those are quest cards. Let's go ahead and mix those up. You can have a total of 3 active quests. Okay, so we're going to add this now. I don't have any active quests except for my main quest. So this is my second quest now. Fair share. What a nightmare. I recently organized my heist crew to hit a bank in Arnhem. This is what the people told me there. They got to my safe house, but are now squabbling over how to split the loot among themselves, ignoring my instructions. I need someone to go out there and straighten them out for me. Okay, so I need to be 1 space east of Arnhem. And where is Arnhem's over here? So 1 space east. So this is where I'm looking for now to solve this quest. When I get there, I am going to read that passage if I want to continue this quest. So now I have 2 quests. And this is return the event drawn to the bottom of the event deck. So I would just return that there. And that was 1 day. You end the scene. And that was 1 day's worth of adventure. So now we go on to Wednesday. So now we're Wednesday. We will update our board calendar as well. And that's that. That was a whole day of adventure. And that's kind of how the game plays. You just roam around the world having random quests and doing random things. And I kind of enjoy that. There is a lot of reading. So that is one thing. I'm hoping that so far the reading hasn't been too long. We're not talking Madara levels of like 20 or 30 pages, 30 minutes of reading a book. They have been pretty short, definitely longer passages than in something like Tales of the Arabian Nights, but not obnoxiously so. I'm looking forward to seeing how the campaign unfolds, what happens. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens when the months unfold, when this particular game is done. I don't know what's going to happen. And that does cause me to have some excitement. And so I will be back in a few days to have some more wrap-up thoughts on Lands of Galzyr. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We will talk to you later. Bye-bye.